Hello, and welcome to the live. I apologize for the technical issues. Hello. I didn't realize that I possibly left my tripod at Gigi's house. Gigi, did I leave my tripod at your house? So therefore, I had to rig up at the 9th hour something to hold this, hold my phone up to do this stream. Let's see who we got. Because I was working on my story to the 9th hour, and doing that, having to stop and hunt for stuff to try to do this threw me off story-wise. Let's see who we have here. Hello, Be the Difference. How are you? Welcome. What is going on? Is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth stream. Oh, yeah. Can everybody see and hear me okay? Because I'm getting a message saying that they're not receiving enough video to maintain this streaming properly. Can everybody see and hear me okay? Welcome, Be the Difference Clothing. How are you? Hello, Shiwana's saying hello. So glad that you could join me. Hello, Pandy. Pandy says, good evening, Deborah. I am listening in from the skybox. Oh, aren't you the one in a skybox? Fancy. When I grow up, everybody else want to be like Mike. I want to be like Pandy and be able to be up in the skybox. Unless that's a different type of skybox you're talking about, Pandy, that I'm not aware of. Be the Difference is saying hi to Pandy, Hair Candy and more, and to Shiwana. Pandy saying hey to Shiwana. Pandy saying hey to Be the Difference. Edward Smart's in the house tonight. Hey, Edward, so glad you can join us for story time. Be the Difference is speaking to Pandy. The Creative Creole says, good evening, Miss Deborah and everyone. The kids and you will be watching on the TV while I cook dinner. I guess you meant the kids and I. Thank you for you and the kids tuning in as usual. Tell them I appreciate them so much for wanting to listen to my story time, Creative Creole. Pandy's saying good evening to Edward Smart. Be the Difference is saying hi to Creative Creole. Pandy saying hi to Creative Creole. Edward Smart is saying hi to Be the Difference Clothing. The Creative Creole is speaking to Pandy and Be the Difference. Shawana and Edward. Gigi says hello, Deborah. Glad tidings. Gigi, you got my tripod at your house? Gigi saying hi. Shawana saying hi to Pandy. Hair Care More. Be the Difference is saying hey to Gigi. The Creative Creole is speaking to Gigi. Pandy saying hi to Gigi. Edward Smart speaking to Pandy. Gigi speaking to the Creative Creole. She's speaking to Edward Smart. Skipped here. Let's see. Shiwana speaking to Gigi. Green Organic Love is in the house. Hello, Green Organic. How are you? So glad that you can join us for story time tonight. Edward Smart speaking to Gigi. Gigi saying yes, is at her house. Okay, all right. And then the other one I don't have the piece that holds the phone. Pandy saying hi to Green Organic Love. Hello, Cindy's in the house. Hey, Cindy. How are you? She's saying hi, Deborah and chat. Gigi's saying yes, you did. Green Organic Love says you gotta do what you gotta do, Deborah. My machine is holding up my phone as I sew. Yeah. Look, I wish I could show y'all what I rigged it up, but I'm gonna tell you what I did, and maybe you can catch a visual. As most of you know, I paint. So you know those tall stand-up easels that you could stand up and paint? I have that standing up, and that's why I'm so far away from the camera. I have that with a canvas on the front to hold my phone up against the canvas so the phone don't fall through the easel. So that's how my tripod is rigged up tonight, but it's working, so hopefully my phone won't fall. Shawana says hi to Cindy. Gigi says yes. Okay, Pandy's hair says hello to Cindy. Green Organic says, I see you well. Thank you. Gigi says hello to Cindy. Edward Smart says yes. Yeah, because I was getting a message from YouTube saying it wasn't enough juice or something or another. Green Organic says hi to Pandy. Be the Difference says good, good. Gigi says hello to Green Organic. Cindy speaking to Be the Difference. Shawana, Pandy, Edward, Gigi, Creator Creole. Cindy speaking to Green Organic Love and everyone. Gigi saying hi to Pandy. Green Organic says hi to Gigi. Edward says what's up to Cindy. Pandy says the Skybox, aka the Bush. Laugh out loud, listening in while working. Okay, Pandy, I was like, okay, but I thought they didn't have games and stuff going on, but I don't know. What do I know, you know? Okay, Pandy, I appreciate you listening in. Miss Full Roller says hi. Hi, Miss Full Roller. So glad you can join us for story time tonight. She says hi to Maz and Chad. Hey, y'all. We'll just be listening in tonight. Okay, Finest Wine Cooking is in the house. Hello, Finest Wine. So glad you can join us. And he's throwing some love out. And Be the Difference saying hi to Cindy and Green Organic Love. Pandy saying hey to Miss Full Roller. Be the Difference Clothing is Laugh Out Loud. And she's speaking to Pandy and more. Green Organic Love says hi to Be the Difference and hi to Finest Wine. Miss Full Roller says hi to Pandy and hey from my usual spot in the bushes laughing. Finest Wine Cooking is saying hi to Green Organic. Gigi saying hello to Be the Difference. Finest Wine throwing some love at Gigi. Gigi speaking back to Finest Wine Cooking. So I am going to go ahead and get into our story. Edward Smart is speaking to Miss Full Roller and Backyard Gardener's in the house. So glad you can join us tonight, Backyard Gardener. Backyard Gardener is saying hello to me and to the chat. Wasn't quite finished. I wanted to add some at it, and then after that I was having issues with the aside from the tripart, issues with the internet stuff. So hopefully my story makes sense by the time we get to the end. But anyways, here we go. Once upon a time, there was a miller who had 3 sons, James Gipe, Stevie Boy, and Marquise Hilson. When he died, he left his mill to the eldest one, James Gipe. He left his ass to the second one, Stevie Boy, and his cat to the youngest, Marquise Hilson, who was simply a sweetheart and had always been fond of GKicks the cat. What they didn't realize is that GKicks was heaven sent. James Gipe and Stevie Boy, the 2 eldest sons, resolved to live together, but they would not let their brother Marquise Hilson live with them because he only had GKicks. They said to him, "We are family, but you and GKicks have got to go." Marquise Hilson thought he was precious and family, though. This is where it gets real for Marquise Hilson. The poor lad just sat there sorrowfully, listening to Dave's poems and songs, wondering what his next move would be. Finally, he pulled himself together and said to GKicks, "See, it's us, never them. But I know that God loves me because I am God's child." While he was sitting, he did some creative thinking. But before he could say a thing, GKicks jumped up on the table and touched him with his paw. My dear master, GKicks said, don't you fret. I will get your living for you back. You must buy me a pair of sneakers and give me a bag, and I promise you, you won't regret your past. Marquise Hilson had very little money, but he thought it such a wonderful thing, and actually funny, to hear GKicks talk, that he couldn't refuse his request. So he listened to the voice of reason too, and took GKicks down to EMoneyShoes, the shoemakers, and got him to make GKicks a very smart pair of sneakers. And then he gave him a nice large bag. Now, not far from the mill, there was a rabbit den, and GKicks committed to catching some rabbits for dinner. He put some lettuce leaves and fine parsley into his bag. He went into the den with all that he had and held the bag very quietly open and still. He was really thrilled when the little greedy rabbits who knew no better ran into his bag to have a feast. Once they were completely in, GKicks pulled the string of the bag and clanged to it tightly and carried them off to his master. Marquise Hilson killed them and cooked one for dinner, but GKicks took away the other and hung it up for their next day's supper. Although their daily needs were being provided, GKicks took his bag and went again into the rabbit's den and caught 2 more young rabbits. Instead of carrying them along to Marquise Hilson, he walked to King Jomar's home and knocked at the door. King Jomar's porter asked who was there. Before GKicks dare announce himself, he said, I have brought a present to King Jomar. Please let me see his majesty. The porter let him in, and when GKicks came into King Jomar's presence, he made a low bow, taking a fine rabbit out of his bag. GKicks said, My lord Marquise Hilson of Creepy Dragon Nation sends this rabbit to your majesty with his respect. I am much obliged to Marquise Hilson, said King Jomar, as he welcomed GKicks inside and ordered his head cook to dress the rabbit for dinner. The daughter of the king, Casie, a very beautiful lady, sat next to her father's side. She was a sweet pea and ordered one of the attendants to give GKicks a good cup of cream, which he liked very much, and he went home and told his master all he had done. The miller's son laughed, but every morning GKicks caught a rabbit and carried it back to the palace with the same message. Now, in that country, there lived a cruel troll who used to eat children, so everybody was afraid of him, but nobody could kill him. He was such a giant. One day, GKicks went to call on him. He received him civilly, for he did not care to eat cats. So GKicks sat down and began to talk. I hear, he said, great troll, that you are so clever that you can turn yourself into any creature you please. Yes, so I can, said Creeper Eyes 361. Dear me, said GKicks, how much I should like to see your trolling ship do it. It sounds like fun. Then the troll, who liked to show how clever he was, turned himself into a lion and roared so loudly that GKicks was quite frightened and jumped out of the way. Then he changed back into a troll again. GKicks praised him a great deal and then said, "Can your troll ship become a small animal as well as a large one?" "Oh yes," said the vain troll, and he changed himself once more into a little mouse. Once GKicks saw him in this form, he jumped and killed him and ate him up at first munch. Then GKicks ran home and bade his master go and bathe in the river, and he should see what he would do for him. The miller's son, Marquis Hilton, obeyed, and while he was in the water, GKicks took away all his clothes and hid them under a large stone. Now King Jamar's carriage came in sight soon after that, just as GKicks had expected, for he always drove in that direction, and directly he saw it, he began to cry very loudly, "Help, help, help, for my lord Marquis Hilton of Creepy Dragon Nation." King Jamar put his head out and asked what was wrong. "Oh, your majesty," said GKicks, "my master Marquis Hilton was bathing and someone has taken away his clothes, and now they're gone. He will catch the cramp and be drowned." Then King Jamar ordered one of his attendants to ride back to the place and get a suit of his own clothes for Marquis Hilton, who had so often sent him gifts, he said. And when they were brought, GKicks took them to his master and said, and helped him to dress in them. Marquis Hilton looked quite like a gentleman in the king's clothes, and when he went to thank his majesty for them, the king asked him to get into the coach and he would drive him home. Then GKicks told the coachman where to go and ran on before and came to some reapers. "Reapers," said he, "if King Jamar asks you whose fields are these, say it belongs to Marquis Hilton of Creepy Dragon Nation. If you don't say so, you should be chopped up as small as mincemeat." The reapers were so frightened that they promised to obey him, and he ran on and told all the other laborers in the land on the road to say the same. So when King Jamar asked, "To whom do these fine fields belong?" the reapers answered, "To the Marquis Hilton of Creepy Dragon Nation." The herdsman said the same, and when King Jamar turned to Miller's son, he said, "What a huge empire! My lord, you have a fine property here." But all had belonged really to the troll, for it was to his castle the cunning GKicks had told the coachman to drive. At last the coach stopped at the troll's castle, and GKicks came out and, bowing very low, said to King Jamar, "Your majesty and the princess are welcome to the castle of my lord, Marquis Hilton of Creepy Dragon Nation." King Jamar was delighted, for it was indeed a very nice castle full of riches. The daughter of the king, Casie, sat down to a great feast with her father, which GKicks ordered to be served. King Jamar was so pleased with Marquis Hilton and thought him such a gentleman and a good match for the princess that he invited him to court, and in a little while gave him his daughter for his wife, and made him a prince. You may be quite sure that the miller's son was very grateful to GKicks for his good fortune. He said, "GKicks, these are magic moments. Because of you, I'm living my blessed life." GKicks never had to catch mice for his dinner anymore. From then on, it was buffet and beauty life, eating dainty meat and the best cream for GKicks in sneakers. So that concludes our story tonight. The characters in our story are James Gipe, Stevie Boy, Marquise Hilson, Simply a Sweetheart, GKicks, Heaven Sent, We Are Family, Precious and Family, It Gets Real, Dave's Poems and Songs, Us Never Them, God Loves Me, God's Child, Creative Thinking, Voice of Reason 2, EMoneyShoes, King Jamar, Creepy Dragon Nation, I think I may have said it, or if not, but it's Daughter of the King, Casie, Sweet Pea, First Munch, Huge Empire, I think I said Creepy Dragon Nation, Magic Moments, Living My Blessed Life, Buffet and Beauty Life, and I think the other one was Creeper Eyes 361. I couldn't find that at the time that I was supposed to be looking for it to fit it in, but that is also a YouTuber. I know it's Creepy Eyes, but I think 361 goes on that. But I'll put the right name in the description box. But it is Creeper Eyes. I'm just not sure, 100% sure about the number. And I think I said It Gets Real. I'm not sure about the number. But those are our YouTubers featured tonight. I was thinking that I could have possibly fitted a couple of more in, but I ran out of time in the midst of my panic trying to rig up a tripod. Let's see who walked in while I was reading the story. Edward Smart speaking to Miss Full Roller. Hello, Backyard Gardeners in the house. Backyard Gardeners speaking to me in chat. Green Organic Love is laughing my butt off. I love the story time. You're quite welcome, Green Organic. I don't know if you ever went back and had a chance to look at your story. Your story was the very first one. In fact, you were the one that inspired me doing story time with doing my shout outs this way. So if you go back and look at the very, very first story time I did back in January, I believe it was, Green Organic Love, that was your story. You were featured in that story. You were the main character in that story. And from then on, I just continued this way. And this is my way to do my YouTube shout out. Also, I called even though I'm doing story time, I call these stories Prelude to Story Time because I am a published author. I am going to start next month, possibly, hopefully, the second week of May, reading excerpts from my book. So I'm reading these stories to give people time to purchase the book if they like. They could purchase it at Amazon. It's called My Struggle in Broken Pieces, A Healing for My Soul. And it's available at Amazon. And I do book giveaways. And several people have won a book. So I'm going to get those books out to them. Hopefully, I should be getting those books the first week of May. So once I start reading from my book, I will still be doing these little short stories here. Because this is my way of shouting out my YouTubers. So YouTubers are always featured in the stories. And the one I did, I think it was Friday, I believe it was. I think I kind of outdid myself. I had 114 characters actually in the story. It was a cute story. And I could not believe the number of characters that I got in that story. So I had a lot of fun with it. Cindy saying hi to Backyard Gardener. Pandy saying hey to Backyard Gardener. Backyard Gardener saying hey to Cindy and Pandy. Louis Fuller is in the house. How are you, Louis? So glad to see you. So glad. Louis says hi. How are you doing today? Had a pretty good day, you all. Had a pretty good day. I rest a lot, but I had a pretty good day. A pain-free day. So that always makes for a good day. Louis Fuller says, I just gave you a like. Thank you so much. If you all came in and forgot to pound on that like button, I really appreciate it. If you would go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Gigi speaking to Louis. Louis says, hi, how are you doing today, everyone in the stream? Gigi saying hi to Backyard Gardener. Backyard Gardener says, hey, to be the difference. What's this? 12 vials. How do you say it? Vials? 12. I'm listening to the story. Oh, no, I missed it. Oh, no. No, you missed it? Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm so glad you joined us for story time. So glad to have you. The good part about it, you can catch it on replay, but we are definitely glad to have you here. And Gigi saying that was a great story. Thank you, Gigi. 12 bells giving the, oh, man. Says, I got to catch the replay. Yes, you got to catch the replay. Cindy says, hello to Louis Fuller. And 12 bells. Cindy says, welcome, everyone. Please thumbs up if you haven't. Thank you so much, mods, for keeping up with everybody and welcoming everybody while I was buried in the story. Thank you so much. 12 bells says, hi to Cindy. Gigi says, welcome to the live. And hi to 12 bells. 12 bells says hi to Cindy, hi to Gigi. Web Savvy Cafe says, hey, hey, hey. How are you, Web Savvy? How are you? 12 bells says, Deborah, I'm getting better with my time. I came in on the last 2 sentences of the story. There you go. Each time you're getting better and better. So maybe 12 bells, the next time you'll get here on the first line of the story. Thank you so much for being here, though. Edward Spark says, nice story, nice story. The only thing that came to mind, and like I said, I got thrown off path, so I really wasn't able, because whenever I reference a scripture, I like to give you the actual location of it, so because it's always good to go read stuff for yourself. But what came to my mind about this story, if you noticed, when the father died, I was looking at what he left, and it says he left the first son, James Gipe, his meal. He left the eldest one, the ass, and he left Stevie Boy the ass. That's the second oldest, and he left the baby, Marquise Hilson, a cat. And so, when you look at this, the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, he left those two, the one thing that would be most profitable, that really would help them maintain a good living. He left the first one, the meal, where they're making all the stuff and he can sell the stuff off, whatever it is he's doing in the meal. I would imagine some type of churning wheat and stuff like that. And then he left the other one to ass, which I'm sure probably came along with some property where he's plowing and tilling the land and, you know, planting vegetables or whatever the case may be. And then you look at what he left Marcus Hilson, a cat. And you kind of go, So at first, when I saw that, I thought about in the parable in the Bible where it talks about when the talents were issued out. One got 5 talents, one got 3 talents or whatever, and then one got 1 talent. And so the ones that got the most talents went out and they earned more talents. And the one who got the 1 talent did nothing with it. He buried it, did nothing with it. And then they came back and said, you lazy man, you did nothing with what I gave you, what I entrusted you to. And I thought about, that was the parable that came to my mind when I looked at this. And at first I was thinking, is that why Dad left Marquise Hilson just a cat? Because he figured he wasn't he wouldn't be as productive as the other 2 brothers. Is that why he left him, which really seemed like nothing? So that's what came to my mind at first. It was like, oh wow, he gave the meal and the ass and stuff like that to the others because he felt that they would produce themselves a good living. And I was like, and he, you know, was it that Marquise was lazy, that he figured, well, I'm not going to give him the meal, I'm not going to give him the ass because he's lazy, he's not going to go out and subdue the earth and do what he needs to do to be productive, so I'm just going to give him a cat, and at least I gave him something. And I thought, like I said, I thought about that parable about the one that got the 1 talent because he wasn't going to do anything with it, and he didn't do anything with it to multiply it. But in Marquise Hilson's case, that wasn't the case. He actually turned out having the greatest, receiving the greatest gift from Dad of them all. Because that he got, the little he thought, the little he got, and the little they thought he got, actually yielded him a better life than the 2 brothers. But I was just thinking about that though, but with us, you know, everything that we have, we're stewards over what we have. God made us stewards over what we have. And even though some say it's by their hand, by their might, by their power, that they have everything that they have, those who are very rich and stuff like that, even though they say that, but no matter how much we have or how little we feel we have to always remember that God entrusted it to us and we're stewards over it. And he says if we're faithful over a few things, he'll make us ruler over many. And I just looked at Marquise Hilson, who just what we thought had a cat. And he was dedicated to that cat apparently before the dad left it to him, because it says there that he was the cat's favorite. And so he wound up being ruler over many, many things. But we have to be good stewards over what we have. God has entrusted it to us and made us stewards. We're just stewards over it. And so we have to make wise decisions when we're dealing with the things that we have. You see? And some of us a lot of times are given opportunities to turn the little we have into a lot, but we don't, because we may feel like it's nothing much or whatever the case may be. But we have the potential to turn the little we have into so much more, like Marquise Hilson did. But because to us it looks like little, very, very little, so we don't do a lot with it, you know. But in this case with Marcus Hilson, even though that's what he had was a cat, which seemed like little, and obviously seemed like little to the brothers, because they felt like he couldn't even contribute to the household, they kicked him to the curb. You see? But you never know. You have to think about what you have. Sometimes you have a lot more than you really have. I remember when I was married, And I didn't think I had very much. I felt I had enough. I lived comfortably, but I didn't look at it as I had a lot, that anybody would even want what I had. And I had 2 houses. I had the house before I got married, and I had the house that my husband and I had together. It wasn't until we divorced that I really realized how much I had. The first house we had, we bought the house for like $176,000 or something like that. Back in 98. By 2004, we started the divorce process and all of that. Well, by then, that house was worth $350,000. Then I had the other house that was worth another $300,000. Then, a little property and stuff. So it wasn't until I found myself in court thinking this was going to be a 1, 2, 3 easy divorce and we part ways. And here we are, this divorce got dragged out for over a year, going back and forth about money. Because I realized then I had more than what I really thought. And so that's why you have to be so careful and be mindful, of what it is that you have, and be good stewards over what you have. But that thought just came to my mind about, when I looked at Marquise and the brothers who thought he didn't have very much, and look how much that little that he had, or they thought he had, yielded him in the long run. You see? And it was the same with me. But we have to be mindful, like I said, that we're stewards over what God has for us, no matter how great or small, whatever it is. But just know that you are stewards over it, and God expects us to do our very best with it. And like I said, that was the scripture that came to my mind when I looked at this story. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Okay, Web Savvy is speaking to Gigi, and Edward says the cat is the most important gift. Yes, Edward, the cat was the most important gift. They found out in the long run. And I'm sure the brothers were probably, like that old expression, they were probably sicker than 4 dogs when they realized how much riches and stuff that little cat that they thought was nothing, that gift that the dad left to Marquise was nothing, but how much more it yielded him. Edward says, nice story. I'm so glad you all enjoyed the story. I look forward to the stories. Like I said, I lost about 30 minutes really running around here like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find a tripod and stuff. So I lost a few minutes because I saw where I was gonna put a few more characters in there. Green and Green Love says, I enjoyed this story, Deborah. It kind of reminds me of Joseph and his brothers. Yes. I'm sure if each of you think about it, something will come to mind as it relates to the word. You're right, Green Organic Love. It did kind of remind you of that. Only difference, there was no they didn't really, well, they did cast him out, but not the way that his brothers did, but they did kick him out. You're right. They did kick him out, thinking that, but with Joseph, it was a lot of jealousy involved there, when it came to him. But you're absolutely right. They did cast him out and everything, and he fell on some hard road. But in the end, they had to do just what he told them happened in his dreams. They had to come subject to him. So you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And I'm sure, now that you brought that up, Green Organic, it says that Marcus Hilson, King Jamar, made Marcus Hilson royalty. So I'm sure at some point his brothers are going to encounter him again and have to fall subject to his authority. So you're absolutely right, because it does say that he married him on to his daughter and took him into the kingdom. So yeah, at some point his brothers are going to have to cross his path again, and they're going to have to fall subject to his authority and bow down. You're absolutely right. But I have a lot of fun with these stories. I really, really do. And I get even more excited when one of you all walk through the door and you're featured in the story. I get even excited even the more. That's the fun part about it, because no one knows if or when they're going to be featured in the story. Because I never know who's going to be featured in the story until I start going through the story. And when I call you in the story, when you're featured, you're going to be either a person, place, or a thing. Not necessarily a person, because it just depends on how what your name is. And Simply a Sweetheart is a YouTuber, and I think she gets the most use with her name in the story than anybody. Because you can always plug that in anywhere to identify a character who doesn't have a bad disposition. Pandy says, Deborah, enjoy story time this evening, heading out. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out and spending time with us at story time. Pandy, you have a good evening and be safe. Green Organic Love says, it says, bow down. It took a lot of humility, but they did. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Green Organic Love. You're absolutely right. But I bet you they thought 1,000 times from back when how they did him. You know, they did it, but you know, even with his father and stuff, you're right, it took a lot. But I know a day probably didn't pass by that they did not remember what they had done to him and how what he had told them had fulfilled. So you're absolutely right. And so we have to be careful. You know, that's why the word tells us, be careful how we entertain strangers. They could be angels unaware. We never know. We never know who we encounter, how that thing's going to come back full circle. And that very person that you mistreated or was mean to or whatever had to be the same one that you had to go. You ended up in this company for a job interview, and when you walked in, that's the person sitting behind the desk that you were mean and cruel to, and they're the one that has to determine whether or not they're going to give you that job. You find it's a very, very small world, and you know, I found that, I mean, people in other states and stuff, people I've known for years. In fact, I was just on the phone with someone I know the other day, and we were just small talking, and then she said to me, I didn't know that you were friends with my cousin. She said, that's my first cousin, and I didn't know you were friends. And I said, yeah, she and I have been friends since like 1981. And then this other person, she and I have been friends since like 2006. But all the time that I was talking to this person I knew in 2006, I never knew that the person I knew from 1981 were cousins. I had no clue. The only reason she found out that that was her cousin, I knew her cousin, was because it was her birthday, and she went on Facebook and everybody was saying happy birthday. And then I saw my friend from 81 comment on this friend's on the Facebook and said, hey cuz, happy birthday, you know, and just wishing her cousin well wishes. And I'm like, huh? And so I called my friend up from 81. I was like, so-and-so's your cousin? And she was like, yeah. She goes, I didn't know you knew my cousin. You see, so you just never know you know, who you may encounter that knows somebody that knows somebody, you know. Gigi saying goodnight to Pandy. 12 Veils saying goodnight to Pandy. Cindy saying goodnight to Pandy. Web Savvy says, Deborah, amen. So y'all better treat me right. That's right, Web Savvy. We better treat you right. That's right, because we don't know. We don't know who you know and what you may have to come and turn around and do for us. You are absolutely right. That's right. We might need to go and visit your Web Savvy Cafe and might need some of them services. You absolutely right. Peter Different says that 6 degrees of separation. Okay. All right. So Peter Different said that's that 6 degrees of separation. So yeah. But like I was saying, I enjoy story time. I don't think anybody tonight in the house was in the story, but I enjoyed the story. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed that one where I had 114 characters. I mean, I really enjoyed that one. But I enjoyed the story. I always enjoyed and look forward to sharing story time with you all. I'm not going to prolong the time because I haven't eaten dinner and it is already late. So I want to at least have eaten a couple of hours before I lie down. So thank you all for joining me for story time. I so appreciate you all. I enjoy telling the story as much as you all say you enjoy hearing the stories. I always look forward to story time. Always remember, may his peace be with you until we meet again. A reminder of the new story time schedule is on Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Story time is Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So I will see you all at the next story time on Friday night. If for some reason I can't make it to story time, I always throw up that little, just a brief message so everybody's kind of used to seeing that. And I'll let you know what's going on with story time and when we'll resume it if for some reason I can't make story time at its regular scheduled time. Thank you to Vales tells me to enjoy dinner. Green Organic Love says thank you for having me, Deborah. Thank you for being here. Good night, everybody. Always remember, I have a will to live, and I will see you all at the next story time. Good night. Good night, everybody.